I have to remove something, sorry. Hi, welcome. Hi, welcome to Spiritual Alchemy, the podcast. Tonight we're going to be talking about signs and symbolism. So I think we'll just start by introducing everyone. You want to do a self-introduction? Do we have Karen? You want to start?
Yeah, I'm Karen from Australia, and I'd like to talk about signs and symbolism, and chat with you all.
And you're an editor. You've edited people, right?
Yeah, I'm also an editor and written books and been in anthologies, which is pretty fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Melanie.
My name is Melanie, and I'm from Sacramento, California, and I'm a numerologist and a tarot reader, and also an energy healer. I've been teaching for a long time, over 10 years teaching, but it's been a journey, and it's a lot of fun and exciting. A lot of exciting things have been happening, and so I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. Buffy?
I'm Buffy, and I'm from Kentucky. Just got some aspiring writer, and hopefully go into Reiki healing at some point in time. And just here to talk about the signs and symbols and how they're working in my life and showing me where we're at right up to this moment today.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to start because I chose this topic, and I thought it'd be interesting to hear what other people, where they find their signs and symbols at in the world. And mine started, I've always have seen signs and symbols, but right now I'm writing the book, The Theory of Eight, which started with getting an astrology reading from a friend who asked me what happened to you when you were 8 years old. So there's everything that I'm looking for is an 8. And the most significant thing is that my great-grandmother was born 8808. And I recently looked at her birth certificate, and she was born at 8 p.m. So I started looking at what I was doing when I was 8. And the theory is whatever you were doing, experiencing, feeling when you were 8 years old is what you should be doing as a profession to be happy and be abundant. But you also have to heal from what happened to you when you were 8. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm curious about 8. So if anybody has anything about 8 that they want to share, Melanie.
I do. 8, whenever I see 888, because I see that right before I bring in money. Every time I will see it somewhere. 888. And I read numbers anyway, everywhere I go. Before I even became a numerologist, I was a bookkeeper. So I was already a number person. And then in 2009, I started seeing numbers everywhere, just everywhere. And I was getting this date that I didn't realize it was a date at the time, but I was getting 444, 1111, 444, 1111. Well, I got a download. I got a healing from Archangel Michael on April 11th of 2011. So there were so many things. And since then, I went, I'm a numerologist. I have to be. This is where I'm going. It's a number thing. And because since then it's just really expanded into a huge deal. But that's what I get with 8s. Every time I see 888, and if I get more than one, sometimes I've gotten 3 of those in a day, and then I know, oh my God, I'm getting a nice little windfall here, and it happens. It's kind of, yeah. So if it's like 1888, it's a little bit. 2888 is a little more, you know, and the more you see, and that's what I have found over the years with the 8s. It's interesting.
We can go in another direction if somebody has something.
No, sorry. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I usually draw the infinity symbol, and I'll sort of draw it, and then I'll draw it in different directions, and I'll make a kind of a little flower pattern with it. And that's kind of like an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like to sort of draw the infinity symbol. And, yeah.
I've seen.
And I have noticed different numbers in life. 111, 222. Yeah. Double numbers often. Yeah. And I've had them when I've looked at my phone and it says 111, and then I look at it again and it says 222, and then I looked at it again and it said 333 up to 555. I thought that was really interesting.
Mine's 616. I've seen it all my life. It's 616.
Yeah.
And I've had it with the numerology. I've had it described in several different ways. 616 being in the angel numbers as being either bad or really good, or it's clearing out anxieties or worry and fear, and it being as I say, really bad or really good. It's like both ends biblically. It's kind of like going more down toward Satan and that part, and then rising up toward heaven. You know, it's like the two worlds right there, and they're battling or something to that effect. And
Two worlds colliding.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I've had several different women describe it in different meanings, and I think it has applied in different areas of my life. I think when it was the bad and the good, I think it's being in recovery and in my addiction process. I've either been really bad or I could go either really good, and I think it showed up in different levels. When I was out there and doing my worst, I think it meant toward that, and then as I got better, it goes up to the other side, the more good side. So
yeah.
Do you get signs anywhere else? I know we're all a little intuitive and a little bit psychic. Do you get signs anywhere else?
Mine's through people.
What's that?
Mine's through people. It's through people. I have. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like like something my grandmother would say, and then it will eventually unfold. And sometimes it's taken years for those things to unfold. But I can remember back her saying certain things, and now today it's like boom, this is here. Something. A lot of deja vu. A lot of deja vu. What I think was deja vu, but it's not really deja vu. I think it's already it's been described to me. It's just playing out again. So, you're going through it again, but a lot of deja vu.
I get I guess they'd be messages, but they're signs through songs, lyrics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That happens. I get a lot of signs through spirits. I'll get when I'm working on something important or something that's supposed to get out there. I'll like a lot of my ex-husband who is passed comes through quite often for me, and he likes to mess with my computer and my lights and my TV. So when he's around. But it's always at a time where it's like I know I have a really good friend who's a medium, and I do have a little bit of that ability, but that's not my calling. I don't go there. So I kind of count on her to tell me, I'm going, okay, so I've got these people around me. What's going on? So I'll get these signs from people and my mother and things like I'll smell my mom and I smell
really strong.
And so I'll know when somebody's around, or things like the electricity things, that's a big thing, or something will fall over. And I know they're trying to get my attention because something I'm supposed to be doing or not doing, you know. I know they help me that way too. Don't do this. So, yeah.
I think my first encounter with that was I was 6 years old, and my grandfather had died, and I think I was real. He was, at 6 years old, I was basically with him, sitting in his lap when the heart attack occurred. I pretty much watched him take his last breath, and at 6 years old, that's pretty intense, and I think I was pretty worried about heaven and hell at this point in time. At 6 years old, there was talk going on, best I can remember, at school or something like that. And I know that I might have been in a dream state of mind when it occurred, but he came to me, and he sat down on the edge of my bed, and I know it was just as real as I'm sitting here talking to you. He put his hand on me, and he told me not to worry anymore. And I don't think I cried another tear after that. And my grandmother died when I was 21, and that was his wife. That's my dad's parents, and I disregarded her the last time I seen her. She kind of had a way of making you feel a little bit guilty sometimes, and kind of played off a little bit sicker than she actually was, or something like that. Kind of an attention thing, and I was busy, and I kind of blew it off, and I felt bad about that, and I carried that with me for a long time, and again, I might have been in a dream state of mind, but she came to me at that point in time, and I got to tell her that I was sorry, and we talked about it, and we walked along the beach, and it was, I know it was very real. It was very real, and I think those were the first two things that happened in my life, and then I had a big one happen back about 3 or 4 months ago. I encountered an angel, and I've got pictures of him. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool how things unfold and happen.
Absolutely. Karen, did you have something to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to share about signs and symbolism. I've written it down because I'm not really good with speaking.
It's okay.
Yeah. And we just need to know what to look for. Asking them is a great way to have them suddenly appear, or more to the point, already there. You just didn't notice them. Recently, I wrote a story for someone's anthology, so I wrote something down. I refer to them as part of Heaven's symphony, in the sense that everything is interwoven, like a grand orchestra that is divinely directed and includes life's meaning and purpose. And the way to realize them is via the still, quiet voice within. And the more you become aware of the existence of signs, the more we notice them in our life. And if we trust enough to allow ourselves to be guided by them, this is when great change and transformation happens for us. And then we are moved by them in a divine direction to live purposefully. And signs can include knowledge regarding people, names, places and events, word meanings, insight, and illumination of a wise and divine nature. And in the outside world, messages from the birds, they sing in a certain frequency. In the space between, between the physical and spirit, you can hear a kind of tune, but you know that it's actually not in the physical, and you know that it's not in spirit, but it's between, and it's really profound when that happens. And usually that's a message from a loved one or someone who wants to pass on a message, especially if they've just passed over. And it's a sign, can be a sign of saying goodbye. So, and butterflies, if you see butterflies, that can be a sign of loved ones after they've passed. Yeah, and that can be quite profound. Yeah, feathers on your path.
Feathers, I see
coins.
Feather, yeah.
Yeah, and different coloured feathers.
White.
Yeah. They all have meanings. Yep. White's the angels, the archangelics, to let you know that they're there.
And animals that cross your
path.
path.
Yeah, animals. Yep.
Yeah, I have crows.
Yeah.
I'm not liking seeing. They're staying away from me, but I can still hear them.
Yeah, one of my friends
Oh,
sees
no.
crows. Yeah.
How about I know we just talked about numbers, but sequences, and I know we talked 333, 888, but beyond that, is there a reason for the sequence?
Sure. And one way to really get good at figuring out what they're trying to portray, what they're trying to tell you, is to write them down every time you see it. And
Yeah.
I mean, there've been every time you see it, like during a day, I've gotten like 10 or 12 in a day sometimes. And then if you put them all together, eventually you'll be able to figure out what they're trying to say to you, what your guides are trying to say. That's something I am writing in the book that I'm writing right now, is how to read number sequences, because I'm good at reading numbers anyway. So
Wow.
that's something that is going to be incorporated into it, along with healing
Wow.
with numbers. So my course that I just launched on Monday, that's what it's about. It's about going through your core numbers, learning how to balance the number energies that you don't have in your energy field. Okay. It's different. Yeah.
These are these
Downloaded, sweetie. So
are these healing codes? Would you call them healing codes?
No, not really, but I'm teaching you how to figure. I'm working with, or people will be working with their core numbers and the maturity number, because that's your basic self, and then the maturity number, who's you're trying to become, and then what I incorporated in the course is balancing numbers. So how to figure, how to use numbers to balance out the energies that you don't have. So, to put yourself into balance. Does that make sense? And then bringing in incorporated crystals, color, affirmations, a bunch of different kind of healing things using numbers. So there's nothing out there like this. There isn't. So I'm really excited about it, because it's put me on a different path. Although not really, because I was already there actually and didn't realize it. But yeah. So the book is going to be centered around that, and then I'll be doing another course. Years ago, I did a Number Speak Oracle card deck. That was my first Number Speak product, and it just seems to be growing. So I guess I'm branding myself and without even realizing it.
When is your next course starting?
The next course,
Yeah.
I just launched this Monday, so I haven't even started that. I'm going to get my book finished first, and then I'm going to go into my next course, the online ones. I do numerology in person too, courses. I've got a meetup group, the Psychic Enhancement meetup group in Sacramento. But there's no way to really do it in person right now. So that's why, okay, I've got time, so I'm going to do this online course, and it kind of just flowed. So anyway, it's exciting. I've got ideas for the second one already. So it's just coming in.
Wow. That's how it happens.
That's cool.
I'm interested in taking your course. I'm like, when am I going to have time to do your course and write my book?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Symbolism. So I know each number has is symbolic of represents, like Karen was talking, different things. Where was I going with that? Symbolism, just in general, in our daily lives, and how repeating patterns, I guess, that come into our lives that we need to pay attention to.
The funny thing is about that is that when I started seeing those numbers, there weren't a whole lot of people that were seeing those, and now it's like the consciousness has grown. So I mean, it's like it's spread. Now everybody sees them. So that's kind of like that. What
exponential.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how that worked. It just kind of grew into something huge. Now everybody's really curious about, well, what does this mean? What does that mean? So it's kind of interesting.
Absolutely.
It used to not be that way. When I first started seeing them, there weren't that many people that were seeing them like they are now. It just grew.
What was I going to say? Oh, I play this silly game. It's a word game, and I get messages through it. And I have been for where I've noticed it for 3 years. And so the same word keeps coming up each time I'm playing. I'm gonna pay attention to that, and it comes up in my life. I don't know. I don't think I'm manifesting it. I think I'm getting messages from somebody.
Could be.
Hey, look at this. And then I'm watching for it. And what does that mean in my life? It's really interesting.
Do you have family members that were close to you that are passed?
Yeah. And I do talk to them, but I put them in timeout because they were bad to me. I don't want my energy. So when I talk to a medium, they're like yelling in the corner, and they tend to. Well, they can come here, but no, you told them to stay out of your energy. I'm like, okay.
That's funny.
I don't know.
You hear music? I hear music a lot. I hear music, and it's very clear. And there's nothing, I'm like, Mom, turn off the radio, and there is no radio playing. I can hear it very, very clearly.
I get that too.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
Music of the spirit, darling. That's what you're getting.
They'll be on the phone with me and say, I hear music. And my grandmother, when she was little, she would say that your soul plays music. And I can remember back on that now. And she'd say, you play music all the time. And I hear music all the time. And people have been on the phone with me or in the same room with me. And they can hear a fleeting sound of music. They're like, I hear a radio playing. And my grandmother would say that when I would walk or come across the yard or whatever, that she could see the music behind me.
Wow.
Which she had a lot to say. And a lot of things have led up to a lot of doors that are opening now. And it's kind of, I don't know. I'm blown away. I'm blown away at some of the things that she would say to me that make sense now. I think she knew. I think she knew a little bit more about what we feel now with the collective and all that. She said I had a pretty important role to play at some point, and there's some things.
Was gifted too.
Huh?
She was gifted too.
Yeah, she was very gifted, and one of the nicknames. I spoke with you guys earlier before the show and. Talking about this relationship that I was in and the signs and things that I mean, it's just crazy how it all came into play with this one relationship. And my grandmother called me by my maiden name and my middle name. And my middle name is Lynn and my maiden name is Gay. And she would call me Galen Littlefeet, Princess Warrior of the Fairies, and who talked to the white cat. Well, the relationship that just ended, a cousin's daughter or something, or a niece or something like that. The little girl was actually an artist. She was an abstract painter, and they called her Galen, and that was her nickname. And there was an instant I knew, but there was so many more signs that came in this, that came out. That's how this whole awakening started, and believing it was a whole lot of signs through this one relationship right here, but they called her Galen. And it's just crazy. It just, some of the things that are opening up, like on the last podcast, I even commented on it on the last podcast, the energies that came through that. And I was like, no, wait a minute. I'm kind of still the little bit of the unbeliever. We talked about that, the agnostic. I'm like, there's no way that I'm sitting here watching this podcast and you guys are talking about music. One of the ladies, I hear music in here. I've just chimed in on this podcast. And there it is.
It was me.
Yeah. And signs and numbers, and talking about, I'm just going to say, because I know I'm not crazy now, but, the new heaven and the new earth, and all that opening up, with the new 13th sign off Ucus. I am the 13th sign off Ucus, and my grandmother would tell me that I had a rainbow aurora, and they're supposed to be like the 13th tribe, the rainbow people. They're supposed to be preparing for this new journey that we're supposed to be opening up on. And there's supposed to be 7 women that are preparing for that. And it, I don't know if I'm one of them, but all the signs says that I am. So, and I think maybe if I am, that's pretty cool.
Yep. I think that's why we came together, because we have business.
I wasn't. Yeah, we have business. I wasn't going to say your business, but we talked about signs and things. I have a dream. I have a recurring dream, and I've had it ever since I was little. And I'm in a room, and there's big doors. These doors are huge, and they're etched, and they have big handles. And there's other people in the room with me, and I can't tell you what they look like, but I can see their faces. But I can't describe them to you. But I am supposed to open that door, but I'm standing in the room and it's not time to open that door. And, I don't know what that means, but Ophiuchus constellation.
Oh, you'll know when the time's right.
Excuse me?
You'll know when the time's right.
Yeah. The Ophiuchus constellation is supposed to be the gateway to heaven. So it just makes me wonder.
Yeah, I really need to read on that. I haven't. Sorry.
I've read on it a whole lot, and it's just crazy. And I think there's some things that maybe I'm not allowing myself to see, because it's just a little bit. It's not unbelievable to me now, but it's just like I'm mind blown. It's like a lot to process. There's a lot in there to process, and I don't know if you guys do it or not. I question my sanity a little bit sometimes. Like, are you crazy, or are you really,
Just wait till my next book comes out.
I used to. I don't anymore.
I know I'm crazy.
Richard wants me to go get meds, okay?
Yeah, they're going to want to admit me, so it's okay. It's okay. I've been in there before. It's nothing new.
It's nothing new. Oh, no.
Color of the walls, they're all beige. So.
Oh dear. Oh dear. How about angels? I know Buffy's seen an angel. She has photographic. I've seen the photograph. It's an angel for sure.
I have several photographs of him. Yeah.
Actually, I've had a couple years ago, I had angels come to sing to me.
Wow.
And that was, am I going crazy? I was watching Supernatural. I'm like, okay, I know this kind of stuff happens on the show, so I'm going to turn it off. Okay, it's still going on. I'm going to go outside. I can't get away from it. Okay. Well, what do? We go lay down on the bed and just enjoy it. So that's what I did, what does it mean? I think they're just like reassuring me that everything's going to be okay because I was going through a really hard time at that moment. Would you call like psychic information like intuitive? I don't know. I think there's a difference between intuitive and psychic. Would you guys agree with that? Intuition versus psychic information?
Yes, but
Psychic can include phenomena as well.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a pretty fine line, wouldn't it?
Intuition is more your own sort of gut feeling.
Yeah, it's your gut.
Yeah.
But if it comes into your heart and you're going like, okay, this is going to happen to you and you have to go with it. And you're like, what? Okay. That's
but the gut is also, I mean, if your gut's telling you something, you better listen. I mean, every time that I haven't listened to my gut,
there's trouble.
I got dinged. Yes.
You got
I have
dinged.
I don't listen to anything.
Negative 3 points for that one.
Right. I'm in the hole now.
Oh boy. I've had to do a lot of research with doing my book and looking at symbolism. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I've learned a lot, like because part of my book goes back to Egypt and 2800 BC, and I'm looking at anything I can that is connected to the Epic of Gilgamesh. And Enkidu, I'm looking at the character Enkidu, and I'm like, why is this character like really ugly next to Gilgamesh? And then I started watching shows on Egypt, and one of the Egyptologists state that the different pieces were put onto these characters because they represented different types of heroism. So this character Enkidu was actually a hero and had like all this. If you look this up online and find pictures of Enkidu, they are dressed up with I don't know all the garb, but if you look at Gilgamesh, he's holding a snake, which you know what snakes represent. There's different meanings for snake, and then he's holding a lion, and lions are very symbolic. Are you familiar with lions and symbolism of lions?
Power. And a power.
Confidence, yeah.
And royalty. So,
and controlling your inner power.
Yeah, well, Gilgamesh was a king, so right. you would hold a lion, but I just think it's funny. But so actually, those two characters are in my current lifetime now. So yeah, so I've had to
like archetypes.
No, our actual souls were reincarnated into this lifetime. Gilgamesh. I know Gilgamesh. His soul is my ex-boyfriend in this lifetime, but he's no king.
He thought he was, though.
But it all makes sense in my book. You think I sound crazy now? Just wait till you read my book. Yeah, I'm going to try to hash it out, all the symbolism and science here. But that's the kind of mindset that I'm in right now. And that's why I did this show. So Does anybody have anything that you want to share that we haven't covered?
No, but I know, like, you know, on the pictures with the angels, the one picture, I was actually taking pictures of the girl that I was talking about being in the relationship with. And we were at, it's called England Falls in Rockcastle County here in Kentucky. And, you know, my family had previously owned that land at one point in time. And it's kind of like it's a, it's an old, it's sacred ground is what it is. The Indians, you know, some Indians had actually lived there and rested there and had their, you know, their home there. And, you know, I took her on this hike. She'd just come out of a pretty bad divorce, and you know, she talks to the trees, and nature is where she's at. And you know, I have this little thing that I do when I stepped out of the car. I said, you know, I always say, "Dear Lord, baby Jesus, and all your guardian angels, come help me." You know, I kind of make a joke out of it, and that's kind of how I talk to my angels. And you know, I asked them to come down that day and help me inadvertently, you know, to make this day great. And she was sitting on a rock, and I was taking pictures of her. And we have this waterfall, and I'm in behind the water, thinking I'm going to make the pictures more graphic this way, you know, catch the water in between us. And I don't know if you guys can see the picture. Can you see it with the glare at all?
It's really hard to see.
Yeah,
Which way? This way.
It's
Here, you can't see it on this. You can't see it through here. The numbers 456 show up in that. And this particular picture, it would not let me send it. I tried to send it to different phones, her phones. It would not let me send that picture. And the angel numbers are 456. And I had talked to another lady, and you know, I don't know if you can see it in this or not. There's a green orb up in here, and I don't know if you can see it, but
have to get
you know, it just is. You know, we got the rainbow when he was fixing to leave. You're just not able to see it here, but you know, the number's 456, and he came through me. I was standing there, and I felt it. I just felt it's like this cold, and I said, "Woo," you know, and I said, and it right there he was, and I said, "Be still." And she said, "What is it, a snake or something?" I said, "No, it's an angel." And he sat and he looked at me, and you know, you could tell he was jovial. He was happy. And I told him he was beautiful. And when I told him that, he had kind of turned and done his wings up like this. And I mean, it was apparent that he smiled. It was still like seeing, it was like seeing those faces. It's like the faces in my dreams. I could see them, but there's no way to describe them. I know what they look like, but with my eyes, it's like he was too bright. He was too bright to see. He was too beautiful to see. But I knew that he was beautiful. And I had a lady kind of tell me kind of what this dream, you know, what seeing this angel was about. And she said he was my guardian angel. And I had called on him. Ashley couldn't see him, but I could. And, you know, and he allowed me to snap these pictures. So somewhere along the line, that there would be proof of him. And the message through that was not to forget the bond, that we had, that we made the angel smile that day, just through the sheer innocence of just wanting each other to have a good day, you know. And the angel number 456, I can't remember exactly what she said about the numbers and how it meant in that photograph, but that's, you know, that whole ordeal right there has been like a huge impact on everything. You know, it's just like, you know, to not forget the bond, you know. And then we go through this whole ordeal, you know, like I said before, if it hadn't been for her, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. But I got to experience like the signs and symbols, you know, this whole show, and it's been wadded up into 7 months for me, you know. Karmic partners, being able to see my darker side through her. I got bit by a black widow spider twice, but she bit me 3 times. I had a lady message me right out of the blue and ask me if I learned my lesson, you know, on that. You know, I'm like, I think I did. You know, I think I can see how I use my feminine power, you know, now to where I've hurt people before, and there was my karma. And, you know, getting to see my darker losing hurt because I thought I was doing something wrong, but knowing that I had hurt people like this before, and knowing not what to be anymore, and who I was through this power that I can use. And you know, there's a whole lot of things that there's still a lot of unanswered questions.
I got a problem.
You know,
Uh-oh.
but you know, being, you know, the spider is supposed to be your spirit animal, and you know that it's supposed to be, you know, what they say is my spirit animal now. And you know, how can a spider be your spirit animal when you're scared to death of them? You know, it's just like, how do you embrace this? You know, I don't know. It's just all kind of, it's fast. It's fast.
Karen, did you have something?
Yeah, the spiders, they're creative, and they build webs, so they create, so that it's in a creative power.
Yeah.
Melanie has some cards.
Sorry.
What happened?
I had a card reading done by Melanie. So.
Oh, okay. How was it? I don't remember.
I'm like ready to come back because it's like things that you told me. I think you told me you can't go anywhere, or you have to stay home by yourself. You have to be by yourself. You can't, and I'm like, why? And then freaking Corona happened. I'm like, dang. So there you go.
Okay.
And before we move on to another topic here, I wanted to, for our audience, like, I know personally, if I see number sequences or a certain number all the time, or an animal, I use the internet. Do any of you have other resources that you use in order to find the symbolism?
Books and I use the internet. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Depending on what it is.
Yeah. I mean, if I don't have a book on it or whatever, I'll go to the internet or ask somebody, or use my intuition, because sometimes that just falls into place.
Right.
I mean, sometimes you just look at something and know what it means.
Right. Yeah. Karen?
What Spirit's trying to show.
Denise Lynn's got some good books out on symbolism and dreams, so she'd be a good resource.
Denise Lynn?
Yeah, and Angel Numbers. There's a book by Doreen Virtue called Angel Numbers. So you can
Google the angel numbers, and there's so many variety of things come up with the same numbers. It's like, which one do you go with?
Yeah. Nope.
No on that one.
No on Doreen Virtue.
Okay.
When I got that one, I looked at it and I gave it away to somebody. I went, it's not. She doesn't know numerology at all, and also and I'm really big on angels too. And I mean, you want to see the picture of Michael, because I can show you what I lived with for 3 months. You want to see it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sure. Let's see it.
I had one come to me through a waterfall. He came right through me. So yeah.
Wow.
Anybody else's angel stepped through him or not, but he walked right through me.
Oh wow. Look at that.
A friend of mine. Well, this here.
That's beautiful.
This is the healing that he gave me. So somebody who showed up in my life right after this, gifted me this. She painted it for me, and I haven't seen her since.
Oh wow.
It just kind of came out of the blue. I told her what I needed, because I needed to have that in my space, and she painted that for me. So anyway, I spent a lot of time with him. It's interesting because she was American Indian. The artist was, and you can see the American Indian in his face. It's interesting how that kind of came out. Yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, that was a very beautiful experience. Yeah. So yes, he's with me a lot. Not as much as he was at that point because there was a reason for it at that time. But yeah, definitely there.
So you got cards, and I'm over here going, she's got cards. She's got
I got cards. You want to see a card? Or?
No, do you have? I thought you brought some cards with you.
Oh, you mean
yeah, your cards.
My personal cards?
Yeah. What do you use? Yeah.
Okay, I'm not okay. Am I being dense? Because
no,
I'm not
don't you use cards? Don't you use tarot, right?
Yeah, tarot and angel cards, and I also created a deck a few years ago, numerology oracle deck, the Numbers Speak oracle deck. That was my first Numbers Speak product, and then it's kind of growing now.
So, where can people purchase that deck?
Actually, that particular one, I need to buy some more. So I sold out of those. So I need to get some more of those. I'll be getting them soon. But yeah. But yeah, the class is on my website at www.heartworksnow.com. I also have some things on Etsy, but most everything that I do is on my website. Yeah, I'll be putting my cards on too. So
awesome.
So you can tell me later what those numbers mean then.
Pardon me?
I said, so you can tell me later what those numbers mean then.
I can go for some, I mean, it's almost like steps for me. I'm getting like steps of some kind of, you know,
are you feeling something now? Because I feel like an energy being pulled.
Yeah, but you're supposed to be taking steps towards something, but but the 4, 5, 6, but to me, 4 is really I get 444 a lot. That's my soul number.
A 616, I think is mine. I don't, you know, I've seen that.
That is yours? Your soul number?
616. I don't know. I mean, that's just the number I've seen ever since I was a little girl.
That's not really your soul number. That
No.
might be something. Anyway, the 4, 5, 6 does mean something.
4, 5, 6. It means I can't remember exactly what the lady said, but I was supposed to see that number. That number was for me, and that's what she said. And for the life of me, I cannot remember what she said.
But it's taking steps. You're missing steps right now.
I'm missing something, I feel that. I feel like there's like something.
Like
there's
something that I keep missing together, and then the steps will show up. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does. Okay. There was another phrase that another lady had used before, and it goes something like that. It's one of the biggest phrases that's impacted my life more than anything. And she said, "When the student is ready, the teacher will appear."
Yeah.
And that's made a big, huge impact. And I have found that I've been both a lot this past year. I have been both.
It's almost like you're taking a journey, but there's a piece missing before you can get up the stairs.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting.
I can feel that piece. I can feel that void. I can feel that void right here. But I've always felt that void, but I don't know what that void is. It's always been with me.
You'll get there. You're on your way.
I think
journey.
Through a lot of trauma and abuse, I think that I disassociated a whole lot. I think my soul left me. it packed up and it left. And I think the only time that I think it came back was through this relationship. And I think not wanting to accept what the relationship was exactly about, I feel like that piece is missing again. And I think I need to get with some acceptance maybe, and that might be, some acceptance of what I thought learned behavior was, and what I thought was what was supposed to take place was not maybe so. What took place was supposed to take place, and maybe I need to get with that. Can you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. A lot of times you have to go through a lot of things to get to to another place. A lot of healers, because you're a healer, a lot of healers go through hell before they get to heaven.
Yeah.
And that's
I've done this several times. I've done this several, and I know that I have. There's too many synchronicities. There's too many things. There's too many things of reaching for things. I knew where the toothbrush was without being shown where the toothbrush was, if that makes sense. There's too many things that are there for me have not to have done this before. And we even both had said this, wonder how many lifetimes we have done this before at the same time. So there's something in there that I keep missing, that I hope that I'm not going to miss this time.
Nope, you're not going to miss it this time.
I don't think I am.
No.
And I think maybe I've already gotten it. I just don't know. I don't know if I want to open my eyes up to it yet. Does that make sense?
We're all in such a hurry, and I'm really guilty of that because I'm very impatient. I want to get to my destination now. I want it now, and we just kind of have to sit back and just like go with the flow, unfortunately, and be creative, because you're very creative. Do your writing, do your painting, and it'll come to you.
Mm-hmm. And when you're creating, that's when you're going to get your biggest downloads, when you're in stuff and it's like boom, boom, boom. So that's when you'll get your biggest hits.
And that's what's been happening. And then, it kind of abruptly stopped again. And I think I let too many factors come into play in my life. I think I need to take charge. I need to take charge of something instead of depending on something else I think that's where a whole lot of the thing. That self-love, it keeps coming right back to it.
Yep.
Every time.
And then you're handed an opportunity. It's what you do with it, right?
Exactly.
And trust.
Faith. Oh, God.
This being stuck inside has really been interesting with the faith and with the, knowing that everything's going to be okay, and that type of thing. It's been real interesting, especially the first 3 weeks. That was a killer.
Yeah. Not getting caught up in it.
It's like I gotta be going 1,000 miles an hour, and that was a killer.
Yeah.
For 3 weeks, fun. And I'm in my house. Now I'm like, I'm just gonna create.
That's exactly what happened to me, and that's why I created this podcast.
Yeah.
You can't work with, you can do distance stuff, but we all had to figure it out. I think a lot of us are still figuring out where we're going to go after this, Right. So, I don't know if anybody has anything else to add. Karen, you seem like you have something, maybe?
Not really. I did have something written down. I want to celebrate all the wonderful people who have stepped up in whatever way has called to them, and the spiritual teachers who have listened to the signs and the messages and following the mission, with many joining together, including you, forming healing circles and groups, and have shone a light into the darkness, spreading the light of love online worldwide. And you all know who you are.
Wow.
And there is a song. There's a song of the spirit, and it comes from. That's where it comes, the song of the spirit, where you can find your true joy that overcomes all sadness. And you feel into it to rediscover your hidden strength, the courage and fortitude to enable you to navigate the twists and turns of current events and situations. Staying in the present moment of your song will guide you to find the meaning and purpose in everything you do, and help with the motivation to perform the mundane routine chores of everyday life, especially when the outside world is so loud at the moment. So it's like stepping back within you where that music is, where your song is. And it's asking you a question: are you in the driver's seat or just along the ride for wherever that may lead? Are we content with allowing others to guide our journey, or would we prefer to take the reins and forge a path on our own terms? Because everything is interwoven.
Beautiful, Karen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Love
Yeah.
that.
I want to thank all of you ladies. We're going to wrap it up, and y'all did fine.
I hope so. I'm live, so I was very nervous. And
I'm going to thank
actually one of the most fun ones I've ever done, because it was because we were just, you know, being ourselves.
Winging it.
I like that.
Winging it. Yeah, there's that winging it.
You know, not having to, you know, put on your best face and be, you know, something you're not.
I'm going to thank all of our audience too, and have a good night out there in the world.
Thanks, Julie.